Hey trainers, Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and today is the last day of the most recent season of Go Battle League, and one of the available leagues is the Catch Cup, so I thought that I would go ahead and do some quick Catch Cup battles for you. This video is a little bit shorter than usual, but hopefully it will be sort of a fun way to end the season. So I'm going to be running Hitmonlee, my spicy pick here. Hitmonlee is very difficult to use even with the recently updated moveset because it is just so glassy. But Hitmonlee has been kind of fun in this particular league, and I'm going to be running a shiny Steelix and a shiny Alolan Ninetales in the back. So I think these battles were pretty fun. I had a pretty good run with this team. I had just been playing around with teams toward the end of the season here. I figured I wasn't going to rank up my overall ELO score in Go Battle League, so I've just been running fun teams here this past week or two. And this one turned out pretty well. I think I'm going to keep this shiny Steelix and the Hitmonlee, even though I don't see all that many uses for Hitmonlee. And we'll see about the Alolan Ninetales. The Alolan Ninetales does not have very good IVs, and Hitmonlee's IVs are just okay, but the Steelix is actually fairly good, so when I have a chance, I will probably power it up and add another charge move for it there. Okay, so that's a lot of just background commentary. I guess I should probably be talking about these battles. So I figured that Shadowclaw was going to farm me down with the Trevenant, so I went ahead and caught the Seed Bomb onto shiny A-Tails, and we have 2 Pokemon left to take out here. Fortunately, my opponent has an Umbreon in the back, and they did not farm up enough for that to be either a Psychic or a Last Resort, so here we are with A-Tails just tanking those resisted Dark-type moves, and we are just going to farm with the Charm fast move here. And actually Charm is getting like downgraded next season, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. My opponent threw a whole Shadow Ball, which was maybe a little overkill, but then again, if I were in their position, maybe I would have done a little overkill too, just for funsies, because they knew the Hitmonlee had loaded energy and that I had a shield left, so you may as well go big before you go home. Okay, so we're moving on to Game 2. Also, I added the Lunala wings to my avatar. I think Lunala looks really, really cool. I am a fan. All right, coming up against a Great League Guzzlord, and I'm doing super effective damage with these double kicks and would definitely one-shot with a close combat, so I do expect that they will shield here, which they do, and I'm going to immediately swap because I definitely don't want to have to tank a Dragon Claw onto Hitmonlee. Honestly, I don't even want to tank a resisted Brutal Swing onto the Hitmonlee. So Steelix it is. Steelix is the designated safe swap, and unfortunately they have a Whiscash here, and Whiscash has been fairly uncommon. I think this is the only one that I have seen in the Catch Cup all season, and that is big bad news for my Steelix. But I'm going to let Steelix go. I've debuffed this thing a couple of times, so I'm hoping maybe if I come in with A-Tails, I can just sort of farm down. And unfortunately, they do get to another Mud Bomb, but I figure A-Tails is the win con, so I'm going to go ahead and shield to preserve some health. And okay, they have a Clefable in the back. And I'm really glad that is what they came in with, because I really needed to see it here and not against the Hitmonlee. So we are going to farm. I'm going to just barely take out the A-Tail or the Clefable there. And now we have a Weather Ball loaded for the Guzzlord. I was very nervous that they were going to farm me down and then have 2 Dragon Claws ready, because they had a lot of energy built up on that Guzzlord. But I was able to charm down, so charm for the win. All right, coming into the next battle, we have the old Purple Scorpion. Haven't seen many of these in the Catch Cup either. I'm thinking, yeah, they did not farm up enough for that to be a Sludge Bomb, but my word, look at that did over half, over half of Hitmonlee's health. I'm going to go ahead and shield this because it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to KO at this point. And I'm really hoping to get to another close combat, which I did. So we will either KO the old Scorpion or get shield advantage, and we KO'd the Scorpion, so that works for me. And that works extra well because now I can come in with the Steelix, which is more or less my best response to Trevenant. I don't have great response to Ghost Tree here. So I think the idea here is going to be, because I haven't added Crunch, I should have been farming up enough where I could fool them into thinking that there was a Crunch, which I did not. So that's a problem there, but that's fine. I did debuff them, so I was able to come in and charm down. Actually, they still have a very low HP Trevenant, but that's okay because it looks like they have an Umbreon in the back, and I don't think they farmed up enough, for anything besides Foul Play. And because they threw Foul Play, I can pretty confidently just farm here. And I'm going to shield just in case, because I know their Trevenant is empty, so able to take that win as well. And Hitmonlee was actually pretty useful in that round. Hitmonlee is more or less there just to try and grab shields at the beginning, very similar to the way that I was using Ursaluna in the last video that I uploaded here. Alright, so we've got the Kung Fu Master himself against this new electric steel thing, and I stayed in far too long before coming in with the Ninetales, so I don't quite farm down, and I do want to shield this because superpower would do neutral damage, and coming from a Buzzwole, superpower is nothing to turn one's nose at. So all of the moves here are going to be resisted, but I'm just going to farm as much as I can and throw some Weather Ball attacks here. And I think they're going to be forced to shield at this point. Yeah, I think my opponent overfarmed a bit much there. So I'm suspecting this thing has, Wild Charge. So, and they definitely farmed up enough for at least 2. So I'm not coming in with Hitmonlee. Good. I couldn't remember, but I was hoping that they were just going to blind throw, which they did, and we more or less neutralized the Wild Charge there. So I'm going to farm up to back-to-back close combats, and Hitmonlee should be able to one-shot this thing because it's part rock type, even though the psychic part is resistant. And I was very lucky that they were using Rock Throw or whatever that move was instead of Confusion, because Confusion would have absolutely shredded my Hitmonlee. All right. And looked like maybe the opponent closed their app there. That was a tough situation to end up with. And Hitmonlee is an unusual thing to come up against. So that might be kind of frustrating as well. So here we go into the 4th, 5th battle, something like that. Moving forward, queuing up, finding an opponent, maybe. I did like when I had the Halloween avatar pose because it just anytime that the screen was queuing up, it looked like I was searching for my opponent, which was kind of funny. Alright, so back into the battle. I come up against a very bad lead with a Galarian Weezing, and yet again we have the Trevenant on the safe swap for my opponent here. This time I have some energy going into it, so that's pretty good. And they go for a Seed Bomb, which means I think I'm going to get to another Psychic Fangs. Yep, which I do. So the Golden Boy here is going to get to throw more Psychic Fangs. And at this point, I can win if I shield. I can win the mid-game matchup. So I'm just going to farm down with the Steelix and see if I can Psychic Fangs something else, hoping that they don't have a fighting type or a ground type, which they do not, or a water type, or whatever of the many types Steelix is weak to. So now I have a dilemma because Hitmonlee does super effective damage against the Piloswine, but that thing is stacked with energy, so fortunately they did not throw immediately. I was able to get the shield, and my win con is definitely with A-Tails at this point, so I'm just gonna... and they didn't throw Avalanche, so I'm just gonna get bulldozed, and I'm counting on A-Tails to be able to close this game. Galarian Wheezing... So Sludge is not a great move, but Galarian Wheezing is part... poison type, so a stab Sludge, I don't know, I definitely wanted to shield it, and this might be game over, but it did not do quite as much as I thought it would, so that's pretty good, and we'll see if my opponent gets to another move. It may be that they just had Bulldoze on the Piloswine there, which is fine. So I was fortunately able to go ahead and throw the Weather Ball and take the win there. So yeah, there's some Hitmonlee in the Catch Cup, and I hope you enjoyed. Talk to you next time, trainers.